All right, ladies and gentlemen, committee, and to all those who are joining us here today in the hearing room, we are going to be advancing Director Heller for potential confirmation of the Senate Rules Committee. Director Heller, I want to take a moment to be able to say thank you. Know that this has been a heck of a process. And I also want to say thank you for all the work that you provided to the state of California. Obviously, you're on the front line of all refuge and recycling for the state of California. But I, in particular, want to say thank you for your work when it comes to wildfires. The agency does first in when it comes to household hazardous debris, some of the most stressful work. A lot of investment by the state within the agency, and we're really grateful for your leadership. I know that it's been a hell of a year. Let's just be honest, and I see former director here as well. I want to thank him for his work. But Madam Director, we welcome you. Quick run of show, 3 minutes for opening statement. What we then will do is open it up for discussion, debate, questions from the committee. Then we'll open it up for public comment for those in support, those who may be in opposition. Madam Director, you will get a 30-second prompt once you get close to that 3 minutes. The floor is yours, and really good to see you today. Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Thank you, Pro Tem McGuire and esteemed members of the committee. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging my husband and daughter who are in the room, along with many of my colleagues and friends, and also would like to acknowledge my parents and friends and family that are tuning in online. I want to recognize our incredible team at CalRecycle, many of whom I've had the privilege of working with at my almost 8 years at the department. I'm honored to have been appointed by Governor Newsom to serve as the director of CalRecycle, and I'm grateful for the support of Secretary Garcia and her leadership team. I've been a public servant for over 20 years. My parents both dedicated their life to education, and they instilled in me the values of service, curiosity, and integrity. These principles have guided me throughout my professional career. I began my work at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in Region 9 and worked in the Environmental Justice Office, supported the regional administrator, and managed zero waste programs all throughout the state. I partnered with communities and stakeholders across California to address our state's diverse environmental challenges and identify solutions. I've learned success requires early and meaningful engagement, collaborative problem solving, and transparent leadership. These past 8 years at CalRecycle have been the most rewarding of my career. As a member of the executive team, I helped build our disaster debris removal office, provided leadership and guidance during the COVID-19 pandemic, and established our packaging, pollution prevention, and producer responsibility team, and have supported this first phase of their incredible work. CalRecycle's portfolio is complex and it's growing. In recent years, California has passed landmark recycling legislation, and we now stand at a pivotal moment to move our initiatives forward. As the fourth largest economy in the world, our actions to reduce waste, foster a circular economy, and protect communities and the environment will have a global impact. With the support of CalRecycle's expert team, ongoing collaboration with stakeholders, and engagement with the legislature, I'm committed to making thoughtful, transparent decisions, even when they're difficult ones. I'm excited to work with all of you, alongside Californians, to take on the challenges ahead and build a future without waste. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Madam Director. How old's your daughter?
5, almost 6.
It is so good to see you. Thank you for being here. My goodness.
He's holding up 5 fingers.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. With the indulgence of the committee, I just would like to go through some items, Madam Director. And I've had the opportunity to be able to sit down with you, and I greatly appreciate our conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have been always open and blunt, and you're a problem solver, and I'm grateful for that. I'd like to talk specifically about Senate Bill 54 that was passed by the legislature, signed into law by Governor Newsom. In SB 54, as we all know, the landmark legislation to be able to reduce plastic pollution and address the plastic pollution crisis that we have here in California. And obviously, this is an issue for the rest of the planet. And what I would like to be able to do is go through the timeline of the revised regulations to be able to implement SB 54. And what I'd like to be able to do is walk through the revised timeline and then confirm dates here on the record with the committee. And again, Madam Director, I so appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit down and have conversations on this really critical issue. And look, I think we can both agree, Madam Director, you've been tip of the spear on this. This has been really important for you personally, and I'm grateful for that. I'd like to start walking through the timeline. There are 5 points which I'd like to be able to get your confirmation on the record. As we start the timeline, between now and the 23rd, the agency is going to finalize the new draft regulations.
Correct.
By May 27th, the agency is going to host a public workshop on those draft regulations.
Correct.
After the 27th, you are going to be submitting a revised economic impact assessment by the end of June.
Yes.
By the final quarter of this year, the agency, pending the final OAL process, will be implementing the regs of SB 54.
Yes.
Finally, Senator Ben Allen is the author of this landmark legislation. There's been so many who have been part of this. Obviously, Senator Blakespear, the governor, the assembly, and very grateful, and your agency as well. And you're going to be working with the author, Senator Allen, as we move forward through the formal regulatory adoption process.
Absolutely. We had a great conversation on Monday, and I look forward to continued interactions with him as we move forward.
Thank you. And look, I think we can agree that this is critical for our environment, the climate crisis, candidly adoption when it comes to our business community. And I think all of us working together, we're going to be able to get this damn thing done here by the final quarter.
Yes.
All right. That's what I would like to, that's what I wanted to be able to do and make sure that we got that on the record here today. I may be back with some additional questions and comments, but I'd like to be able to see if there's any questions, comments by the committee. I'm going to turn it over to Senator Laird.
Thank you. And I really appreciate what the chair, the pro tem, just did. And let me just ask a couple of follow-up questions just so that we hit SB 54. And one is you went through the timeline, but how are you going to make sure it adheres to the spirit and the letter of the law? How are we going to make sure that happens in this process?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Senator. So we're using that last draft of the regulations as our template. We're building off of that. And really, we have an eye on ensuring that any of the edits that we're making to the regulations we're looking through that lens of cost reductions as directed by the governor's office. So staying within the four corners of statute is critically important for us. Ensuring that we achieve, that we have implementing regulations that drive us towards achieving those very important rates and dates of statute is also central for us. So where are those some opportunities to reduce costs by looking at and I'll list a few places in which we're looking right now. One thing that we heard we didn't get quite right is refill reuse. So we're looking closely at that section of the regulations, identifying where we can edit or even remove some components of it. So we have something that's still implementable that meets the statutory requirements, but may cut costs and easier to implement for the regulated community. So that's the lens we're using as we're going through each of the articles, and our commitment is to stay completely aligned with the statutory requirements.
Great. I really appreciate that response. And then additionally, at one of the public meetings, there was some talk about some guidance documents. Mm-hmm. And what are those, and are those something that we will know about? How's that going to work?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Senator. And we will model the development of our guidance documents much off of how we did it for 1383, the Organics Waste Diversion Law. What we heard is we started to implement where there was a need for additional clarity outside of the regulatory process. And what we were able to do was develop a number of guidance documents to post on our website quickly, because we understood the regulated community needed those to be able to implement successfully. We've already started to hear of some places in where guidance documents will be helpful. One place that we're already working and hope to have a deliverable relatively soon is just the covered material categories and more description to understand which specific packages fall into which category. So we will be working on that. And we'll also be working very closely with the Producer Responsibility Organization, Circular Action Alliance, since so much of the program is implemented by them as well. So ensuring that there isn't any duplication or places in which we can collaborate on some guidance documents that would be helpful for Californians and the regulated community.
That's very helpful. I appreciate that. Now switching subjects, a couple of things. And I'm grateful for us getting a chance to meet actually twice. We met during your prior iteration of potentially coming in front of the committee. We talked about the Senate bill last year on recycling propane canisters, and I know you have a budget change, a BCP in on it. If you could talk about how you're going to implement maybe your piece of that law.
Sure. Thank you, Senator. So in our budget change proposal, we've requested one senior environmental scientist and funding for a contract. And the contract is critically important for us to better understand the landscape of the single-use propane cylinders that are generated right now and sold right now into the state, to better understand their durability, the infrastructure in the state for processing them, and ultimately what's going to be needed for this program to be a success. There hasn't been comprehensive work done in California for us to understand that, so that'll be incredibly helpful for Californians and the regulated community, those that will be selling the tanks into the state, to better understand how it will work.
And just for the record, the budget change proposal is not general fund.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It is not general fund. And also,
just in case anybody's on a budget committee that is sitting here. Yeah.
Yes, and also included in that will be opportunities for technical assistance and education outreach as well, which is, of course, critically important.
Really appreciate that. And then my other question is the more global one about the department, because when the share bill passed in the late 1980s, and it was, let's divert 50% from landfills and raise the tipping fee and use that to go into recycling. We made great progress, and we even upped the goal, and then we've stepped back. And at the same time, when we're so successful in diverting stuff out of landfills, there's less tipping fees, so the money that was supporting some of the alternative programs isn't there in the same amount. Talk about sort of where we are and any progress we're making and how you see this going forward.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Senator. Charting progress with our various laws is a very interesting process because there's different performance standards that we look at depending on the program and the material type. But I know one that's very much of interest to many Californians is what's our recycling rate? We looked at some preliminary data for 2024, and we think we're around 42%, which is better than where we were, but still not 50 or 75%. We do have, as mentioned, a lot of landmark legislation that we're in the early stages of implementing that will hopefully move this needle. But concurrently, we are in the process of developing a zero waste plan that looks more systemically at our systems in California, what's working well, where there's opportunity for harmonization of programs. You know, we talk about extended producer responsibility a lot, and a key component of an EPR is convenience. And we need to make sure that there's convenient places for people to bring their material, but also convenient delivery of products and services into the state. So I'm optimistic that, you know, with the new legislation that we're implementing alongside thinking about our system differently, really looking at materials as resources, we're going to see that needle move and reach a higher recycling rate, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Well, that's great. I appreciate that response and look forward to working on that. And I'm not going to, we'll see if somebody else asks about organics, but I've enjoyed working with you on that. I know we still have a lot more work to do, and we've made some progress. So thank you. I look forward to supporting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Laird. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Thank you for being here. I know you're highly respected, and you have a lot of support based on the information that we've been able to gather on you. So I do, and I have a deep respect for CalRecycle. A lot of people get caught up in the blue bin and the bottles and the lids and things like that, but I want to talk about recycled metal, steel, cement, those things. You know, you gotta, if we're going to rebuild LA, we're going to have access to all of it. So what are your plans to make sure that some of those things that aren't normally talked about in this building, because your job is much more than single-use plastic bags or bottles in a blue bin. So we have to have building and construction material, and that also falls in your purview, especially with what's going on in Palisades, everything that we're going to be facing in the next couple of years. If LA ever releases a permit to rebuild, we'll start there. I think there's been 4, and they were processed prior to the fires, so they don't have anything to do with the fires. But what's the plan for that? Because we're going to need that.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a whole department that takes care of that for you? Do they have a plan? How are we going to get those recycled materials to wherever we take them to get them, ready to go again?
Really appreciate that question, Madam Vice Chair, and it's something that I think about a lot because of the amount of opportunity that we have in California to utilize, particularly when we're going through the process of taking down a building or even in the cleanups from the fires, an opportunity to recycle quite a bit of concrete and metal. As you know, CalRecycle has been engaged with many of the devastating wildfires throughout the state, and our role is personal property debris removal. And we prioritize when we're working with Office of Emergency Services, our local partners, and the contractors, recycling of as much material as possible of what's safe to recycle. So ensuring that those metals and that concrete is getting recycled here in California so it can be utilized again in projects in California. But you bring up a good point about just the sheer demand that we're going to see in Southern California and how can we really capitalize on the resources that we have here. For CalRecycle, this is a pretty nascent issue. We do not have a whole, besides having our debris removal operations office, which thinks about this, we don't have a whole, branch or group that works on C&D. And we do know it's still a big part of what goes to the landfill. There is a lot of operations in the state that have really, really good C&D sorting to be able to utilize that material for reuse and recycling as much as possible. But it's certainly something that is worthy of much more attention. And I think in our zero waste plan, it's one place that we're going to look, understanding how significant it is in our disposal stream where there's quite a bit of opportunity. When we're thinking about implementation of the Organics Bill 1383, wood is a part of that. So wood is another place where the department has focused some energy, but we've been focusing more on the organics at the household and at the commercial level. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for utilizing, particularly from deconstruction, wood that's great for other construction projects. So these are areas that I would love to explore more. And one place is the zero waste plan, but also looking towards solutions moving forward.
Thank you. You mentioned that, is there another agency that would be in charge of that heavy constructive metal? Look at the building that we tore down here for the new annex, right? So all of that metal and concrete had to go someplace. Is your department not in charge of that piece, or is it another department?
It's generally more managed at the local level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they determine where it goes?
Well, it's the contractor themselves that will determine where the final disposition of those products are. It makes sense to recycle because
absolutely.
Yeah, for environmental reasons, but also for economic reasons. There's quite a bit of value in that material. So they'll look for markets that are hopefully nearby because the closer markets are much more cost effective to get the material to, and then identify if they can be reused or if they need to be processed into a new material to be utilized again.
And I apologize that I'm getting an education in front of all these people. I apologize to all of you, but so you monitor the blue bins and the recycle for the plastic bags, but CalRecycle does not monitor or take care of or administer or say, when you tear down that building or blow it up or use it as a film or whatever the case may be, we want that all recycled at this facility to be reused for, I don't know, whatever else comes next. That's not in your purview?
That is correct. I mean, there is incentives to jurisdictions to be able to recycle that material.
Okay.
But it's not within our purview as far as requiring that material to go to a certain place.
Is it in anybody's purview?
I will get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your answer. I was just really curious about, I know we spend a lot of time, like I said, on the little blue bins and separating plastic and regular trash or food product, but the bottom line is that the big money and the big savings and the big issues that we face are, fire damaged materials that we can salvage and recycle, and what we do with those materials. And it creates a less expensive way to rebuild as well. So thank you.
Thank you for that perspective.
Just adding on to this, Madam Director, I think, though, the agency is very much part of working with, if it's a federal incident, like what we saw with EPA, and then ongoing with the Corps. If you are lead, having those staging lots and working with the general that would then sell off eventually the scrap metal, et cetera.
Absolutely. For any debris removal activity, we prioritize highest and best use of materials. So those metals will get recycled, that concrete will get recycled, and when we do the hazard tree removal, we look for highest and best use of those trees as well.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you so very much, and appreciate your comments as well. I think the pro tem hit it correctly that I think after the frustration had ended and sort of looking at the timeline and seemingly an agreement to be able to continue to work with Senators Allen and Blakespear and others moving forward, I think we're in such a better place. So I appreciate that. Just based off of that, sort of a global question as well, I think Senator Laird asked the questions about just the additional guidance documents that you answered, but any other, open question here, just any other barriers that you foresee in this process and how we can make this a little bit more seamless of a process, obviously with the environmental concerns, workability, affordability, and ensuring that this is implemented to the spirit of the law.
Thank you, Senator. Really appreciate that question. And it is something we think about a lot. This is unprecedented. SB 54 is unprecedented. The lift is enormous and the opportunity is huge. So right now I'm not looking at barriers. I'm looking at paths forward and doing everything in my power and my team's power to charge forward with that path. We understand the importance of getting these regulations done for the regulated community, for certainty, for credibility, to show that California can lead here, and we're absolutely committed to doing that. Concurrently, we're working on the needs assessment, which is required in the law for us to essentially develop a blueprint for this is what California looks like today as far as capacity, infrastructure, and this is where we need to go to achieve the rates and dates and statute. So that's a really exciting piece of the project, the puzzle, the 54 puzzle that we will be having more workshops and more opportunity for community engagement on. And I'm very optimistic at this point. We've had the privilege of 2 years of a process, 1 year informal, 1 year formal, where we learned so much in that process. So I'm optimistic that this round of regulations will be better, more streamlined, and get us to where we need to go so that we can implement and start seeing success very soon.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you just answering the pro tem's timeline and ensuring that it's that is publicly noted that we are seeking that timeline and that there'll continue to be more engagement on this. So I appreciate that very much, and thank you for those comments. Just a second question, similar to sort of what Senator Grove had been mentioning. LA fires, I am a Los Angeles County member. I think obviously your engagement in other disasters is certainly appreciated, and knowing all of the agency's work, the detailed work that goes in engagement and recovery is certainly it's mind-blowing to see that, and to see that for ourselves in Los Angeles. We never in a million years thought we would have the fire of this magnitude. I would just also globally ask, any lessons learned from LA fire recovery, engagement? What do you foresee for future fires, which we know we'll unfortunately have?
Yeah, Senator, thank you for that question. And, my thoughts with your constituents who have been impacted. It was been absolutely devastating for the state. And, CalRecycle has cleaned up almost 22,000 properties since 2007 when we were first mission tasked for debris removal. And I would say with each incident, we learned something new. We learn a way in which we could do something better. We also learn about the unique geographies in the state and understanding that an incident in Siskiyou County is going to look very different than an incident in urban LA County. So I think what we've learned is the need to be flexible, the need to engage early with local government, with our CalOES partners, with really anybody impacted to understand what those top line concerns are. We do debris removal, so we come in a little bit later. So having those conversations early and being at the table early helps us prepare and work with the local government so that when we come in and we're working with communities to get their right of entries, there's a really good understanding of our program, and we're meeting people where they're at to be able to describe the program and the benefits of signing up for the state program. As I'm sure you're aware, there's some people that decide to do it themselves, which is fine, but we want to make sure that those that make that choice have been informed as far as what the state program can offer. So I would say moving forward and lessons learned is to not try to copy the way in which we've responded to one incident and paste it to the next incident, but instead to take the lessons that we've learned and incorporate them into a plan for the unique situation that a community faces when they have a catastrophic wildfire or other disaster.
Thank you. I really appreciate that approach because it's absolutely certainly needed. And I want to say our pro tem led, I think, 2 or 3 roundtables in Los Angeles County, in Altadena, and then the city of Los Angeles, the Pacific Palisades. And want to thank you and Secretary Garcia as well for your engagement with the communities that are still going through recovery right now. So I appreciate those responses and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Majority Leader. Thank you so much, Leader Jones. Thank you. Would like to go to see any additional discussion or debate from committee. All right. Hearing see none. 2 years in on this damn thing. Let's just bring it home, Madam Director, please. Thank you so much. What we're going to do is that we're going to open it up for public comment. What we're going to respectfully request is that you state your first and last name and your organization. We know that there are quite a few folks, so we're going to ask you to state your first and last name, your organization, and your position on the appointee. We're starting with support. Take it away. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem and members. Jennifer Fearing here today on behalf of Ocean Conservancy, Oceana, Monterey Bay Aquarium, and also Me Tooing for CalPERG. We are so enthusiastic about Zoe's confirmation. She is experienced and uniquely qualified to lead CalRecycle at this important time. Our experiences with her and the department, primarily through the efforts to implement the world's strongest plastic pollution reduction law, we have found Ms. Heller and her team to be thoughtful, measured, fair, insightful, and creative. Lastly, I just want to urge that the Senate continue its strong leadership and accountability with the department for ensuring that 54 is enacted as intended by the legislature. Thank you.
100%.
I can't wait. Paula Treat, on behalf of all of my clients, from tribes to plastic recyclers. In 50 years in politics, I've come before this committee 3 times. I want to tell you that all appointments should strive to have Director Heller's attributes. In 15 seconds or less, she's accessible, she's knowledgeable, she's wicked smart, as you saw, she's thoughtful, she's kind, she's respectful, and she's respected. And the governor made an excellent choice. I urge and I vote.
Thank you, Treat. Appreciate it. We're going to remind folks first and last name and organization and the position on the appointee, please. The floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon. Doug Kobold, Executive Director for the California Product Stewardship Council and also Vice Chair for the SB 54 Advisory Board, here in support of Ms. Heller for this appointment. In my 30-plus years of waste and recycling experience, I find that she will absolutely do an excellent job. I really appreciate her approach, her visibility, her understanding, wanting to get to the bottom of each thing. And so I really have a lot of trust in her, and so does my board. Thank you.
Very grateful. Thank you so much for being here today. Hey, good afternoon.
Mr. Pro Tem, I will take your admonishment to speed this process along. There's a A lot of people here. Greg Herner for a number of clients, but in particular the Can Manufacturers Institute and the Carpet Cushion Council. I have actually the privilege of probably working across every CalRecycle program, from debris removal to MRFs to everything else. And you described it perfectly. Knowledgeable, direct, and
Blunt.
blunt, yes.
There we go.
But thank you very much and strongly support.
Thank you. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. I'm Meg Snyder with Axiom Advisors on behalf of the Drug Take Back Solutions Foundation, in strong support of Zoe Heller's confirmation. Thank you.
Very grateful for your comments. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here.
Good afternoon, Pro Tem and members, senators. Tim Carmichael with the California Council for Environmental and Economic Balance, in strong support. And for time efficiency, I'll echo all of the attributes that Ms. Treat highlighted about Ms. Heller. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carmichael. Appreciate you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Dawn Kepke on behalf of the California Manufacturers and Technology Association, also in strong support of Director Heller. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Julia Levin with the Bioenergy Association of California, also speaking in support on behalf of CR&R Environmental Services, Raven SR, which is an organic waste to hydrogen company, and Beam Circular, which is for the bioeconomy, agriculture, and manufacturing, all in very strong support. Echo all of the previous compliments. They're all deserved by Director Heller, and urge her confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Levin. Appreciate you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Jason Schmelzer here on behalf of Alameda County Waste Management Authority, Stop Waste, in strong support of the nominee, and also want to echo all of the wonderful things that have been said so far. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Kate Brandenburg on behalf of the Allen Company. We support the confirmation of Ms. Zeller and ditto all the comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Louis Brown here today on behalf of the California Grocers Association, also Circular CRV Association, the first and only dealer-formed cooperative in California. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, the Madam Vice Chair just provided, I believe, a high school photo of you in your FFA jacket. Looking good. Hot damn. And Louis Brown just turned beet red. All right, so there we go.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, members.
Follow that one. Yeah.
I can't other than to say John Moffitt here on behalf of Waste Management in support of the director's confirmation.
John, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. Hey, Brian.
Mr. Chair, members, Jason Bryan on behalf of Western United Dairies. We're in support of the confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, good afternoon.
Mr. Chair, members, Michael Caprio here, representing Republic Services, here in strong support of Director Heller's confirmation. Thank you.
It's good to see you, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi there. I'm Garen Kazanjian with Recology, and here in support of Director Heller's nomination.
Thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Crystal Reynes. I'm a legislative associate at California Advanced Waste, and I'm giving a comment in support of Director Heller's confirmation. I've also asked to express the support of Surfrider, Pacific Environment, Valley Improvement Projects, and the Natural Resource Defense Council, NRDC, who couldn't be here in person. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very grateful. Hey. Good afternoon.
Mr. Chair, members, my name is Scott Smithline. I'm here today speaking on behalf of myself in support of Director Heller. I had the privilege of working side by side with Director Heller for years during my tenure as director. She is indeed a rare candidate. Urge your aye vote.
It's good to see you, Director Smithline. An amazing job with all issues of fire. So very grateful for you always.
To serve, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. Good to see you, Mr. Director. Hey, good afternoon.
Mr. Chair, members, Mike Valines on behalf of Dairy Institute, in strong support of your nomination.
Thank you so much. Valines in the House. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Lindsay Goldhorn on behalf of the Resource Recovery Coalition of California, representing waste haulers, recyclers, and composters in California, in strong support of Director Heller's confirmation.
Thank you for your comments. Talking on retail theft.
No,
I'm kidding. Oh my God.
No,
all of a sudden it just started to get the shakes.
I was going to tell you this is my new issue for the year, so I've moved on. Rachel Michelin, President and CEO for the California Retailers Association. I also have the privilege of representing retailers on the SB 54 Advisory Committee. As many of you know, I'm a problem solver, and I am very excited at the opportunity to work with Director Heller. We've already had some conversations on some ideas to streamline a number of the programs, because retail is a consumer-facing industry. I think we're under every single stewardship and EPR program there is. And so strongly support her nomination and look forward to working with her in the future.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Good to see you. Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you, Chair and members. I'm Heidi Sanborn. I'm representing the National Stewardship Action Council. I used to be advisor to the chair of the old Waste Management Board. I've been doing this a long time and helped pass many of the EPR laws that are in CalRecycle's purview. And I just want to say there's nobody better to take the helm at this point in time than Zoe Heller, and we couldn't be more proud to support her. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Reed Addis on behalf of People, Food, and Land Foundation in strong support. Excellent choice. We hope you confirm today.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pro Tem. Adam Regley on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, echoing all the positive comments and urge a strong I vote for the confirmation. Thank you.
Give our best to Barrera. Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and fellow Senate Rules Committee members. My name is Joe LaMariana. I am the Executive Director of Rethink Waste. Rethink Waste is a public agency on the San Francisco Peninsula. We represent 11 jurisdictions and about 60% of San Mateo County's residents. We have a solid waste facility, and we are regulated by about 15 to 16 governmental agencies. The lead agency is CalRecycle, and I could say Ms. Heller checks all the boxes for what we, as the industry, would look for in a seasoned, proven leader. So we vote a strong aye vote.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
John Kennedy with the Rural County Representatives of California. Pleased to be here today in support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Tessa Nicholas. I am on the executive committee of the California Association of Local Conservation Corps. CALC, representing 13 certified corps across the state, all providing paid job training and conservation and resource recovery to underserved communities and young people ages 18 to 26. I am here in support and representing all of the directors in support of Zoe Heller's confirmation, and we want to emphasize how grateful CALC is for the ongoing partnership and the relationship with CalRecycle. We urge a vote on her behalf. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very grateful you're here. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. David Krieger here today for Waste Connections, also in support.
Thank you, David. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Mandy Strello on behalf of CRNR Environmental Services, a Southern California-based waste and recycling collection company serving more than 3 million people in Southern California. They echo the same sentiments that have already been mentioned here, and we urge support for her Ms. Heller's confirmation.
Thank you so much. Very grateful. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Noam Elroy on behalf of the California Compost Coalition, a coalition of organics recyclers and composters in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Faith Conley with Redwood Materials in support.
Thanks, Faith. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair. My name is Antoine Penn. I am the recycling coordinator with Civic Corps Recycling in Oakland and in support of Zoe Heller.
Antoine, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Good to see you. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Hassan Johnson. I am the Class B recycling intern driver with Civic Corps, the local conservation corps in Oakland. I'm 20 years old. I've been with Civic Corps a little over 2 years now. Being with the Corps, I've obtained my Class B license, and I've learned valuable flexibility, time management, and professional skills. I believe Zoe Heller is the right person to lead CalRecycle due to her commitment to the youth, like myself, and I hope her committee will take a vote to confirm her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. Nice work. Thank you so much. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, I'm here with the Five Gyres Institute and also on behalf of the Story of Stuff Project, and here to urge a strong vote of support for the confirmation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Grant Riedel. I'm an economist with Edgar & Associates, and on behalf of Marin Sanitary Services, a waste hauler and recycler, I'd like to extend my full faith and support in Zoe Heller.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, fellow Hillsberger.
Oh, fellow Hillsberger, Mr. Pro Tem and members. I am Rachel Maki-Wagner. A little surreal to be here before you today. It's nice to see all of you again. I'm officially here in capacity as Executive Director for Circular Action Alliance. We are very much in support of Director Heller's nomination and appointment, and look forward to a very collaborative relationship moving forward. As the Director has stated, the implementation of SB 54 is critically important for California, and we look forward to working with her on that and are very strongly in support. And as former Director, I had the incredible pleasure of working with Zoe, and she is an incredibly thoughtful and collaborative person and is a wonderful choice. And I fully support her confirmation.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. Thank you. We're going to do a last call for those who may be in support. A last call for those who may be in support. If you could please come forward to the podium at this time. Seeing no one rise, we're now going to open it up to any individual who would like to speak in opposition. If you could please step forward this time. Last call for opposition. Seeing no one rise, we're now going to bring it back to committee. Any additional discussion, debate, or a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, for Zoe Heller to be moved to the Senate floor. She had great support, but then she brought the big guns in when Rachel came to the microphone. So I strongly urge my colleagues to vote aye.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair. Last call for discussion or debate on the dais. Seeing none, Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
McGuire?
Aye.
McGuire, aye. Grove?
Aye.
Grove, aye. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Gonzalez, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Laird?
Aye.
Laird, aye. 5-0.
It's a 5-0 vote. It has been approved. Feel free. Next up will be the Senate floor. We look forward to working with you, especially this year, and getting the damn thing done. All right. Thank you all very much. We're going to take a 30-second recess, and we'll be right back with you. 30 seconds.